We got down to verse 36 last week. I think where's the chapter 24, Matthew? You know, the disciples asked Jesus about 3 different questions, and he answers them all not at the same time. There is a lot of different discussion on what some of these verses mean. Have they already happened, or they happen in the future, or whatever? We do know he talks about the end of the world. One thing we want to be sure and know that when Jesus comes again, it will not be a secret. And the verses we got coming up, where there be 2 people here and there, and one taken and one left. There are those who prescribe to the rapture, the theory of the rapture, and there's lots of different variations of it. But one of them is that just people are just going to disappear. And they use these 2 verses here that people are just going to disappear, and that's how we'll know Jesus came. And then then the variations all start on how long everybody's got to straighten out, whether it's 1,000 years or this or that, or all kinds of stuff. But verse 36 says, but of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angel of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father alone. And then there's always someone from time to time who is predicting the end of the world, when it's going to come. Has it already been here? Are we already in a 1,000-year reign? All kinds of different. But he says nobody knows. Years ago, I heard a fellow say, if somebody predicts when it's going to be, you can just guarantee it's not going to be that day, because God don't want him to get the credit thinking that it was that day, And that's a pretty good way of thinking about it, because we don't know. We have no idea when Jesus comes again. In fact, he says that he doesn't know. That God the Father will make the decision. When God gets tired of all of us, of the things that are going on in the world, and time's up.
Hey, Vernon?
Yes, sir.
In that verse 36, do you think he means he has a day set already, or that he will just make up his mind when it's time?
I think he'll just make up his mind. God's probably, he's all knowing. He's probably got a date, and that's me supposing now. But it says nobody else knows when it is.
He'll be watching everything, and then he'll decide when it comes.
When the first time he destroyed mankind, it says that he looked down upon the earth, and he was sorry. I'm paraphrasing. He was sorry that he made man, because the thoughts of his heart was evil continually, it says. And then he found one man who was Noah. So Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord, and it's through Noah and his family that the world was saved. But God cleansed the world of sin completely, with the exception of them. And that's it.
But God still gave them 120 years.
Yeah, gave them 120 years.
Change their ways.
Because it says that Noah preached for 120 years. And never got anybody to follow him, did he? Except his kids. I know preachers get discouraged. Teachers get discouraged. Nobody's listening to me. Nobody's paying attention. Everybody's just going their own way. Just think about Noah. He preached 120 years and didn't get one taker the whole time. Of course, he had nearly an impossible job convincing people that it was going to come a flood. A big flood.
It never rained, did
Yeah, but as far as the scriptures are concerned, it had never even rained before, much less come a flood. And here he is out there building this great big boat.
You'd have thought if they would have seen him build this boat, I mean, that was something miraculous in that, knowing how to build it.
Knowing how to build a boat that big, yes. If you've never been to the deal in Kentucky where the ark is built, the replica, best they could build, it's worth your time and your money just to see how big it is. And they got a lot of stuff in it it's not relevant. Some of it's not even found in the scriptures, but the size is as close as we can go by cubits, and it is humongous. And to think of that somebody could build one in that day and time with the tools that they would have been limited with at that day and time, and to build something that big. But it's worth your time and effort to go there just to look at it. Like I say, they got some stuff there that they tell that's they give Noah's wife's name and well it's not there, you know.
Well, the one that's in Kentucky, my understanding, they did not build it with power tools.
I'm not sure. I don't remember that part, Leland.
I haven't been there, but that's what
You may be right, but I don't remember. We've got a picture at home. Now they've artificially intelligent that picture. It shows like me and Becky standing right in front of it. We're not, but they take our picture and then they put it up again, put them together. But it's huge, you know. It's just done it, and they got it out there in the middle of a cow pasture, flat ground, and you can see it for miles. You know, once you get.
Or did you notice any nuts and bolts and nails, or were they pegs?
Well, it says that in the scriptures it says that God gave them the knowledge to do those things, the foundry knowledge and things. So there is some metal involved. And they were able to use iron and things of this nature, but a lot of it was wood and peg. A lot of it was just great big trees for the mast to hold up the different stories of it, the levels of it. It's huge trees. And
But up until that time, mankind was using bronze.
yeah, well,
instead of iron and steel.
well, I don't remember what they used, but you know, the scripture said that God instructed them on how to use stuff like that.
They had a forge, a place to make metal with,
You know, they had a forge in there
in the ark.
in the ark itself.
And somebody-
They had lots of stuff that the scriptures don't say was there, that they was trying to explain how it all worked. You know, how it could work, and stay in there for over a year.
Well, back to Jerry's comment, and I'd like to ask this of all three elders, what's y'all's perception of this day that Christ is gonna come back? Has God got a date set that's coming sometime, or is God waiting on certain things to?
Well, it just says that people don't know. My opinion, and then my opinion's not any better than anybody else's.
I asked for your opinion.
My opinion is that God is set in motion things that He's going to allow happen, and when everything is complete, then at that time He's going to call in all the stuff. I'm sure that He knows. Because it says He knows everything. That's my opinion. You can't find anything definitely to back that up in the scriptures, nowhere, other than just, because it said even the Son doesn't know when he's gonna come again. But the thing about it is that God is gonna make it's gonna be a total surprise.
Well, yeah, mankind's not gonna be ready.
You know, you hear people today, well, the signs are all there, it's gotta be soon, because, you know, the wars and rumors of wars, the famines, those things have been going on ever since Jesus told it. Stop and think. Can you remember a time in history where there wasn't a war somewhere, or a famine somewhere, or a pestilence of some kind going through the country and the world? Those signs have always been there.
I guess Cain and Abel was the first war, wasn't it?
Do I? Yeah, I guess so.
Cain and Abel was the first war on a small scale, I guess.
Yeah. But there's always been wars, rumors of wars, and famines, and pestilences. A major disease comes through about every 10 years, it seems like. Check it out. Whether it's the swine flu, whatever they call the last one, the Spanish flu, about every 10 years there's some kind of a pestilence comes through. And some people straighten up, some people don't. But there's always wars or thinking about somebody's trying to start a war somewhere.
Bill, have you got your thoughts on the day?
I think that's the reason he keeps coming through scripture all the time, saying, be ready,
Yeah.
be ready. Because there is no one knows exactly when it'll be. But it all depends upon us being ready, where we'll be at that time. So, no, as far as knowing the day, I have no idea. Because if Jesus doesn't know, oh my goodness, I don't know.
Well, it tells us that the Father alone knows.
Father alone knows. That's what I say. Now, whether he already has a set time in his mind or his schedule, who knows?
But, you know, and I know nobody knows the day.
Yeah.
But I heard a guy one time that was saying that it will come when the last person who's going to respond to the gospel responds. Now,
It says it comes like a thief in the night.
I don't know if that would be, you know, the last person that's gonna respond, and God knows everything, so he knows when that's gonna be, or if God's waiting until that happens, and he knows that that's the last one.
Yeah. But like I say, it's just Jesus. The scriptures, they completely constantly emphasize you got to be ready because you don't know when it's going to happen. I was aiming to start with it and I forgot it. Going back to some things we talked about last week. Remember when it talked about the Christians knowing ahead of time, and said when you see we find it. Anyways, the abomination. No, therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation, which is spoken of through Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, then it says, then those who are in Judea must flee to the mountains. Whoever's on the housetop must not go down. Whoever in the field must not turn back to get his coat. Woe to those who are pregnant, those who are nursing, and pray either flight will not be in winter or on the Sabbath. But then there'll be great tribulation, and said unless the day has been cut short, nobody could but anyway, you know, I mentioned that Brother Bob Byron was a studier of history And I do have a commentary here that's, it's a People's New Testament with notes. It's by a fellow named Johnson. He was first published about 1889, the best we can find. My book doesn't say. But the fellow that wore this book out has been dead and gone to this reward for about 50 years. His widow gave me the book. So, and he wore it out. So anyway, it's a very old commentary. But it says in there that those things about praying it not being winter, well, he said in the wintertime, which would usually rain in that area, the creeks and the rivers would all be full, so you couldn't get away. He said not to be on the Sabbath, not on the Sabbath. Well, the Sabbath day they shut all the doors, so there wouldn't be any in the town. There was no traffic in and out of town. He said that the commander, and I forget what it was a Roman commander. He got there to attack it and decided he didn't have enough people, and so he stood back a ways and waited for reinforcements. And the Christians knew this was their chance to go, and they left. And that was the reason because they knew the prophecy. They knew that's what was going to be. Jerusalem was going to be destroyed, and so they left. And those who did not believe were the ones that stayed, and they were killed. His estimate, of course, history was over 1 million people were killed in that town.
What's it referring to as far as this abomination?
That's a general. He said that's a figurative term. It's used in the Old Testament too. He said that is the Roman army coming. That's what he says. The abomination of desolation. They're going to utterly destroy Jerusalem.
So in that case, this holy place would be Jerusalem.
And according to him, they came and they sacrificed pigs and what have you on top of the holy altar. That's according to that fellow right there, and it's a pretty old history commentary. I don't have any idea what the fellows. I've used it some, and most of the time, 90% of the time, I agree with what he got to say on different subjects. It's very useful in explaining, especially the history part.
Well, if the Romans are in the temple sacrificing pigs, it's probably a little late to be running then.
Yeah, but see the general. That he says that is the term that they use it for the commander in the army. That's what's going to happen. But he decides he doesn't have enough people to take the city, so he backs up into Assyria for a little while, waiting on reinforcements. And the Christians see their chance. They know the prophecy Jesus gave, and they leave. And then when he comes back, that's when he tears it down, and he utterly destroys the temple.
There's historical documentation where Romans lay a siege.
Yeah.
And like you say, they take a break.
Yeah.
And then when they come back, they're really serious.
Yeah. But he uses Josephus as part of his backing up on it. This fellow does. And another fellow, I don't remember what his name was. He's some kind of a historian. But anyway, that's what he uses. But anyway,
My assertion would be that at what point in the context of this chapter does it change from the destruction of Jerusalem to the end time, to the final judgment of Jesus?
well, it's got to change somewhere, because there's 3 questions, and that's one of the questions is the end of the world, and so it's got to change somewhere.
You've got accounts in Luke 21 and Mark 13 that also confirm that this is destruction of Jerusalem.
Well, say that part of it is the destruction of Jerusalem,
It is.
and then part of it is the end of the world. That's my understanding.
Yeah, I simply disagree.
Well, I'll disagree with you then.
Okay?
Another one of them wars we've been talking about.
Huh? Another one of them wars? Well, I'm not gonna start a war, but anyway,
No,
I'm not gonna start a war, but anyway.
no, I'm not starting a war, just stating what I believe.
Then in verse, where'd we get to?
I think God's gonna be like a parent and be to that point where he's like, I'm fed up, it's done. Like, I'm fed up with all y'all acting a fool. I'm coming back.
Well, that, you may be right. Lost my place now.
We're about out of time anyway, Bert.
Out of time anyway? I think,
You're just about to get into my Devo, that's the reason I'm trying to stop you.
oh, well. You're not gonna
I've been
get in.
beating up all night, so.
Huh?
You've been beating up my Devo all night, but we're gonna get to hear it again.
Well, I was gonna talk about them two women grinding.
Go ahead, I know nothing about that.
Well, now, according to this history guy I got here, he says the deal they took to grind this, it's pretty, that was a woman's work. They assigned it, and it was pretty hard to do, and it took at least two women to roll that wheel, or whatever there was. But then he said they assigned that job to women, and it was a tough job, and it took at least two to do the job. So, anyway,
You see any of those old grinding wheels, those things are huge.
yeah.
It takes something to turn them.
Okay, Jake, he says we're through because I don't think I'm getting in his deal. So unless somebody got some questions. Next week we'll start back again on verse 36, chapter 24, and we'll start go from there.
Hey, Virgil,